Hello, in today's video, we're going back to basics. And lesson number 1, we're going to learn how to manage brackets. Right, let's have some bracket puns. These bracket puns are taken from this website, punstera.com. You can read it on your own. It's quite interesting. The one that I like particularly is the one that about asking the math teacher. I asked my math teacher if he could help me fix my brackets. He said, sure, I can lend you a hand. Another one is the computer one. I asked the computer how it's able to make brackets so fast. It replied, I've got a lot of byte. And of course, the last one. I always feel secure with brackets around. They give me a real sense of closure. Right, let's look at an example on how important brackets are in the world of mathematics. Let's look at this question. You're given 4 plus 3 plus 18 minus 2 plus 6. And what do you think is the answer? Right, did they manage to get 29? So what's going to happen if I'm going to insert some brackets? Okay, let me write out the questions again. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a bracket here. And what do you think would the answer be? Will you still get 29? Okay, let's try to do it. So this will give you 7 plus 18, that's 25. Right, and remember the puns that we read earlier on about brackets giving us a closure. So it means that I have to work this out first, right? I have to work this out first. And if I work that out first, it's 25 minus 8 because 6 plus 2 is 8. So what is 25 minus 8? Equals to? That gives you 17. Right, which is not the same answer as what we have earlier on. Earlier on, we have 29. But after inserting a bracket, the answer changed. Right, so can you see the importance of managing bracket with care? Because if you don't manage it well, then you won't get the answer. Or rather, you won't get the correct answer. Right, let's do another example. So we have learned that bracket it's important in the sense that it's like a closure. So what does it mean by it's a closure? It means that when you bracket something, you're actually putting it in a group, right? So in other words, what you need to do is you have to settle the manipulations inside the group. So if you look at the examples that we have here, all right, there are 2 brackets here, meaning there are 2 groups here. All right, so what we need to do is we have to work out the answer inside the bracket. We have to work out the answer inside these 2 groups first. So what do I get? I'll have 4 plus. So 3 plus 18 will be 21. And then 6 minus 3 is 3. Right. And then if you simplify this further, you will have 25 minus 3. And that gives you 22. Okay. So one very important, things to remember regarding brackets is that you have to manipulate you have to work out whatever that's inside the bracket first. Brackets also have another meaning. If you look at the examples, second examples, right? Bracket has the same meaning as multiplication. So if you have a 2 and then bracket 3, what we are saying is 2 times 3. So what we are saying here, what we're saying here is that you have a bracket 3, right? And you want twice of it. That means you have a bracket 3 plus bracket 3. And that will give you 6. So it's the same as if you change the bracket to times, it means you are just doing 2 times 3, which gives you 6. Okay, so after you have understood the meaning of brackets, let's do example 2, right? So the step 1 is I have to work out this guy inside the bracket first. So that will give us 3 plus 18, and that's 21. Okay, and like what I've just mentioned earlier on, you can convert brackets into multiplication. So it means it's 2 times 21. So this will give you 4 plus 42, give you 46. Right, so in summary, when you're dealing with brackets, all right, there are 2 things you must remember. The first thing is that you have to work out whatever that's inside the bracket. Then the second thing is that if you have something like this, 2 multiplied with a bracket, okay, you work out what is inside the bracket first. In this case here, 3 plus 18 is 21. And then you convert your bracket to times. It has the same meanings as multiplication. So it means it's 2 times 21. And then you can work out the answer. All right, so with our newfound confidence, let's do slightly harder questions. So we have 2 brackets first. So as usual, let's work out the answer inside the bracket first. So 3 plus 18 will give me 21, and 2 minus 3 will give you negative 1. All right, so if I were to combine them, this is what I'll get: 4 plus 21 minus bracket negative 1. So this is the part that we have to be a little bit more careful, right? So earlier on we say that bracket, what bracket means is it means multiplication, right? So negative bracket negative 1, actually you can write it as negative 1 and then bracket negative 1. Right, negative 1 means negative 1. Actually, there is a 1 here, just that usually we don't write it there. Okay, but if it's negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, then we write the number there, right? But usually if it's just negative 1, yeah, we just put negative lah. Okay, but you have to understand that there's actually a 1 there. So if you were to convert your bracket to times, what we are saying is, right, you actually have negative 1 times another negative 1. So there are 2 things to work out here. One is involving the sign. We have a negative multiply with a negative that gives you the positive. Another one you have to work out of is a number. So 1 times 1 gives you 1. So negative 1 times negative 1, it's actually just 1. Okay, which is actually positive 1. Usually if you just write the number 2, 3, 4, it means it's plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. Usually we don't put the plus there. If it's a negative, we'll put a negative there. You know, if it's negative 1, then of course we'll write it as negative 1 or negative 2, negative 3, so on and so forth, right? But if it's just 1, 2, 3, usually we don't put a plus there. But here, because we are dealing with brackets, right? Okay, I'm just going to put 1 as plus 1 so that you can see the difference. So what we'll be getting is 4 plus 21 plus 1, and that will give me 26. So to verify if our answers is correct, you can actually use a calculator, right, to check your answer. So it's 4 plus bracket 3 plus 18, close the bracket, minus, open another bracket, 2 minus 3. Yeah, and the calculator show you is 26 because the calculator has already programmed in such a way that they already take the brackets into consideration and things like that. Okay, but if you were to do it without the calculator, this is how you can show your working in a stepwise manner. Right, let's do another 2 more examples. Okay, first thing first, let's work out whatever that's inside the brackets. So this will give me, oh, sorry, I want to change it to a black color. So this will give me 4 plus, so 3 plus 21, 3 plus 18 is 21. All right, then minus 2, 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, right. So this is the part that we have to be careful of, right? Okay, so 4 plus 21 is easy. That will give you 25, right? And then if you're not too confident about working it, what do you call that? You can just pull this number to the side, and work it out first. So we have a negative 2 multiplied bracket negative 1. So it means it's negative 2 times negative 1, right? So we have to consider the sign first. So negative 2 times negative times negative gives you a positive. Then 2 times 1 gives you 2. So that will give us plus 2. So we change it to plus 2. So 25 plus 2 will be 27. So let's see if we have done it correctly by using a calculator to check our working. So we will have 4 plus bracket 3 plus 18, close the bracket, minus 2, open the bracket again, 2 minus 3. Yes, the calculator would have shown you 27 as the answer. So in this case here, yes, we are correct in our steps. Right, so let's look at the second example. Right, so again, let's work out the one inside the bracket. Right, so what do I get? I would have a negative 4 plus bracket 3 minus 18. So 3 minus 18 will give me negative, how much is it? Negative 15. Right, minus 2, then 5 minus 3 will give me 2. Okay, so again, this one, if you're not confident, you can just pull it to the side. Okay, right, remember what we have said earlier on, right? This one's a bit tricky. Earlier on, we say that there's actually a 1 there, right? Yeah, there's an invisible 1 there. Right, so if you pull it to the side, make sure you just put a plus 1, then minus 15. So we change the times to bracket. Right, so we work out the sign first. Positive times negative will give you negative. 1 times 15 will give you 15. So this will give me negative 4 minus 15, right? And then this guy here will just be negative 2 times 2. Change the bracket to times, so it gives you negative 4. So we put back the negative 4. So what I'm saying is that negative 4 minus 15. So some of you are not too sure how do you do negative 4 minus 15. You just take it as, you see, negative means you just take it as you owe somebody money. Negative means you owe your brother. Let's say, for example, you owe your brother $4. Okay, so you owe your brother $4, and then you find that you still don't have enough money to buy your lunch. So you go and borrow another $15 from your brother. So altogether, you actually owe your brother negative you owe your brother $4. You also owe your brother another $15. You understand what I'm saying? You owe your brother $4. You owe your brother another 15. So actually, altogether, you owe your brother $19. Okay? So minus 19, then minus 4. Then you realize that, oh my God, it's still not enough because you want to eat a huge fried chicken or whatever. So you borrow another $4 more from your brother. So altogether, you owe him $23. Okay, so to see if we are correct in our calculation, you can just use a calculator to help you verify. Yeah, the calculator will show you that it's negative 23, which means we have done it correctly. So the next question you'll be asking me is that, Aya, since we can use a calculator, then why do we have to learn all these steps? Because this one is just examples dealing with numbers. You will be doing questions that involved algebra, variables, and we can't actually punch in 2x minus 2y, the kind of thing in your calculator. You understand what I'm saying? You can't punch in 2x minus 4x, or you can't punch in 2x plus 8x, that kind of thing in the calculator. So we have to learn all this basic first, all the basic rules. These are called the basic rules. That's why the topic of this video is back to the basic. You learn all these basic rules, and then later we'll progress to manipulate algebraic expressions, okay, using all these basics we have learned. All right, so after we've learned all the basics of how to manipulate brackets, and then the questions will get harder and harder. It will also involve division signs, and sometimes you need to square something or square root something. All right, but the basics are still the basics. What I mean is that, what do we do with brackets? So it's such that whatever is in the bracket, you have to manipulate it first. So this is the number one basic things you have to remember, okay? Manipulate whatever that's inside the bracket first. So in this case here, that will give us 6 plus 18, which is 24. All right, manipulate the one inside the second bracket, which is 6 minus 3, give you 3, right? Then the next step is, can you see there's another bracket here? Right, so we have to manipulate it. So 2 bracket 3 means, what does 2 bracket 3 means? It means 2 times 3, that give you 6. So here we have 24 divided by 6. So 24 divided by 6 will gives you 4. Right. And to show whether if you have done it correctly, you can just use your calculator. Punch in the number. Yeah, the calculator will show that you should get 4 is the answer. So in this case here, we have done our workings correctly. All right, let's do another example. Okay, let's work out whatever inside the bracket. Okay, but there's something you need to watch out with, and that is sometimes there are certain things inside the bracket that you have to evaluate first. In this case here, if you look at 6 squared, you would have to evaluate 6 squared first before you can add to 18. Right, so 6 squared means 6 times 6. 6 squared means 6 times 6. That gives you 36. So I would have 36 plus 18. And then this work out this bracket also, 7 minus 3, that gives you 4. All right. So let's work out the one in the brackets again. So 36 plus 18 will be 54. And there's another bracket here. So what does that bracket means? It means that I'm having bracket 4 times another bracket 4. And that gives you 16. So minus 16. So 54 minus 16 will give me 38. So again, you can use a calculator to work out to see if you got the correct answer. Yes, the calculator should show that you have 38 as the answer, which means we have done our working correctly. All right, you may want to try doing these questions on your own. Work it out step by step, and after that, you can just use your calculator to check if your answers are correct. Right, so lesson 2, we'll be transferring all this knowledge we have learned onto manipulations of algebraic fractions.